Okay, we're back live and we're going to try to do this again, make this work. Basically, we want to use our Huine tablet with Blender's grease pencil in 2D animation draw mode. And as I was saying, that the way to do that is if you started a new Blender file, you would see this splash screen and you could start on 2D animation and it would give you this screen here. Now I have my Huion tablet set up with it, so I'm going to go and change my video capture device here in OBS Studio to the integrated webcam. Nope, it's not the integrated webcam, into the USB video device. There we are. And now you can see that here I have the tablet. And this is here, this is the Lucy art, which is a camera lucida, and a camera lucida is either a prism or silvered mirrors that let you get a reflection onto whatever you're drawing on to see some other object. So I'm looking at my son there, and I've got the tablet calibrated this time, and so when I look at him, I see my hand ghosted, and I start to sketch where he is. So he's moving, so it's going to make it a little bit more difficult. Should sit still. He's not still life, is he? But that is his shoulder, and then his hand is on his chin here. And just to do a quick sketch, kind of get an idea of where he is if he doesn't move too much. And we see his hairline and his eye there. And then we can get this table that is here, and then it's got a table here that he's resting his arm on. And then there is a box in here. And basically the scene starts to come into being. He's watching the portal, which is right here. And while I can't see very well, I can get a basic layout of this and do a sketch like that. So that is the basic idea. There's a cup it looks like here. He has this cup that he's drinking out of. And yeah. So you can see the value of this. Now, of course, I can look at the screen and I can add details that I want to if I want to try to improve this drawing. But at least I have a sort of sketch of what's going on there in the room. And that's pretty neat to be able to do that. I can tilt this camera and look at other things and other objects that are in the room. So if, for example, let's see if I put anything, wouldn't be there. If I bring this tablet back, bring the whole thing back, can I take the mug here? Yes, so I'm holding the mug up. And if I want to do a mug, I would start a new scene. So let me do that. So I'm going to go up here to call this scene Storyboard 1. Oops, if I could spell it would be right, Storyboard 1. And then I'm going to do a full copy of that and call this Storyboard 2. But I'm going to erase everything that's in here by going to the eraser and going to stroke and then getting rid of that in Storyboard 2. Storyboard 1 is still there, but now I have Storyboard 2, and in Storyboard 2, if I go back to the pencil, and now get back to my tablet and look through my camera lucida, my Lucy art, and hold this mug up with my hand, then I should be able to cast some light on it to make it easier to see. And I can't see my own hand, so you got to adjust your lighting appropriately. But let's see if I do have this frosting thing here to make my hand show up better. Or to make my hand. Okay, yeah, I see. You're coming me soon. So let's see if I can get my hand there and get my thumb and my finger. I'm trying to hold my hand steady. Oh, it's way up at the top of the tablets. And move my tablet forward. There we go. Let's try this again. So, holding this out and saying, okay, there's the coffee cup there and there. And there's my thumb, and there's my finger, and there's my other finger. And start sketching out. It's really hard to see in this one now, but you could start to sketch out something like holding a cup. Not great by any means here, but that's one of the ideas. All right, well, then you'd come in and then you'd start to improve it here. So that is using the tablet with the Huion. And so when I go back to my storyboard, I have my kid. What's nice about this is that if I come here now and go a couple of frames ahead, if I then want to come on my tablet and draw his arm coming out, it ghosts. So if his hand is here, I'm doing this without looking, then I can get his sleeve and his hand. And now when you go back to the animation, it shows his arm goes out, but of course his body isn't there. So what do you do about that? Well, what you do about that is you create a copy of this and you paste it in like that, and then you can see that his arm, when it comes out, this is a different stroke. And in this, let's see now, in this I would take the other arm and I would erase, let me make it a smaller radius. I would start to erase this. When I get out here, I need to get that back. So I'm going to go into object mode and go back to that first frame and take this object and copy it. Copy objects and go up to that last bit and paste those objects. Oh, that didn't work. That should have worked. Maybe it's about duplicating it with Shift D. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yes. So there it is, but now I have to erase this part here. So when I come into my draw mode, and I have the eraser on, it's not letting me do that because I gotta see where that is. So that's the arm. So the only thing I'm having trouble with is finding where to erase this, and it's not on that. It's this one here. Delete that. And let's go back up to the original stroke, and then we should be able to that's not working either. Let me delete this And let me delete this. Didn't want to delete that. So let me go back. There's that. So on this frame, we have this. And on this frame, we have this. And that. The only problem is getting rid of that arm there. Now, one thing you can definitely do is go into edit mode and select this and zoom in and say, you know what, I need to get rid of those points. So when you need to get rid of those points in edit mode, you go here and you see all the different points and you can say, okay, I want this. I'm going to box select, C select, all this I'm going to get rid of and delete those points. Same with whatever that ghost, well, that's just a ghosted image. So that now his arm goes out like that. Now we're missing a keyframe in there. So some of those frames are missing. So let me shift D on here. See if this helps. No, it's still, this is stroke 3, this is the stroke there, and that stroke has the arm. It looks like I eliminated it too early. So what I want to do, delete that keyframe. Yes, okay, done. All right, so let's go back to here and come back to here, and his arm plays. So let me go back out of this into draw mode, select off of it if I can. And let's see if we shorten this animation down to 40 something frames, then we go and his arm opens. Then if we take this keyframe and duplicate it, then we go open and it didn't close again. Why? That keyframe there, his arm opens, and here we want to get rid of that and get rid of that. We have the arm open, and then we got to duplicate this, but I guess what we should do is Control C and then paste it. No, paste keyframes. Control V, it's not letting me do it. Paste the keyframe. If I duplicate that keyframe, then what happens? It doesn't go back. So that is bizarre. Maybe because I'm on a different stroke? Yeah, because I'm on a different stroke. So I think what I need to do there is Shift D that, and then, yeah, and then it goes back. Okay. So I really didn't need this extra stroke. In fact, it's all of useless to me. So let me delete that. So I'm working only with one stroke area, and I am bringing it down to 20 frames, and then I should have a loop that plays. And it looks horrible. Why? Oh, that's what my other stroke was. My other stroke was a background image of this that had the rest of it in there. Maybe there's a way then to select this from this keyframe. I want to stay within one stroke. So if I select this within this keyframe and I go into this object and I shift duplicate it and bring it over into here. Yeah, so I've got to erase in edit mode. When we have this, I need to come in here and select all the points that I don't want to use and delete them, delete the hand. Now, does that help our case? Yeah, it reaches out and then he goes back. All right, so one can do it within one stroke like this. All right, well, that's getting promising. And it plays either way. And in draw mode, you can keep adding frames. That's kind of cool. And then when we go to, let me get out of here, go to my USB integrated webcam. Oops. And in Storyboard 2, I've got the cup, and certainly if I move the whole thing, not in draw mode, but in object mode, and I Shift D, but I'd have to move up a little bit, and Shift D on this, duplicate it and move it out. But when I get to here, I should be able to move it. And then I need to collect this. I think, can I delete it from here? Will that get rid of the whole thing? Yes, so that's not good. So this is a different kind of timeline animation that we're dealing with here. This will move up like that. So if we continue to move this down as a keyframe, then yes, then we get an animation. And really we want to reverse that. We want to bring this over to here and then bring all of this back. So the animation is the cup. Oops, still going backwards. I thought it would be like this. No, it's not. Okay, that is interesting. How would you reverse that? Usually you would bring this keyframe and this keyframe behind each other, but it doesn't seem to be working that way. Interesting. Looks like that's not really where the keyframe is. Well, let's do it this way. Let's take this keyframe and select everything in object, bring it down, and then let's go up to there, move this up, and then, yeah, it's like there's some mysterious keyframe still stuck inside here somewhere that goes back down. That's bizarre. What if I get rid of this keyframe? I still have the animation. So the animation is obviously on some other track that I can't see. That's the stroke. Maybe the collection has a keyframe? No. Stroke. Camera, no. Interesting. Stranger than fiction. Look at that. Well, I can't account for it. There's the summary, there's the strokes, there's the lines. If I get rid of the keyframe completely, I have deleted everything. So I don't want to do that. But it is moving. Oh, weird as heck. Now I usually like to go to make a new scene and call this video editing. And in that scene, make a video editor, and then add a scene, storyboard 1, and then add a scene that has that animation there, and then add a scene, storyboard 2, and bring it down like that, and there's the cut. So that would be our animation of 2 scenes in the storyboard. Yep. Boom. Okay, well that's it for now. At least we know that we can work with our tablet. And there is a USB video device. So we know that we can work with this tablet And we can work with Blender Grease Pencil, and always can make a new full copy. Go back to 2D animation, call this Storyboard 3, delete everything that's in here, and it does still persist, which is really weird. So go back to object mode and delete everything that's there, and delete what's there, and now go and add an object which is a grease pencil, add a blank grease pencil, and then we can go into draw mode with that grease pencil and come back to our tablet, right? And look down and see what other things in the room we want to draw. Like, for example, this TV here. And if you're doing real quick sketches, there's my son's head. He's bouncing around in there. And there's his arm. And there's his body. So, yeah. So you can start to sketch stuff out. Do a quick sketch of the room. And I'm sort of exceeding my tablet's capabilities here, but just to be able to, oh my, look at what that did. The tablet moved all sorts of keyframes from place to place. So I need to bring all that together, I guess. Let me try that again. Select all in object mode. Delete it all. Zoom into the camera. Come down here. Place, do an add grease pencil. And do a blank grease pencil. And then go to draw mode. Place my mouse on the tablet, my pen on the tablet. Look through this and try and draw this little kid's head here. He's moving around like crazy. So, yeah, if he's going to move that much, I'm not going to be able to draw him. At the table, should be able to draw. Yeah, okay. So drawing the table and drawing some of the objects that he has, draw the teepee there, and what did this thing do? It went to another mode. So there's this weird thing where sometimes you'll click on something and you'll get out of what you were trying to draw. But at least now we have, oh, there's his head now that he's sitting down. So for basic layout, you can draw in the tablet. So that is interesting. It'll be a lot easier when we have a sit-down object that is not going to move, as my son did. But there's a cup here. That cup. And to know that you can come in later on, and when you don't like something, you can choose the eraser, and you can go to dissolve and dissolve some lines so you can clean stuff up. That's pretty cool. You can do points and get rid of a whole mess of stuff like that. and then go back in, fix it. What I guess you can't do easily is zoom in on stuff here, because this doesn't have that capability. This is just a camera lucida. But I do have the ability to trace a cut in the right place. And so you use this really for layout. That's the primary reason that you would do this. That you could lay stuff out, that you can then go in and say, okay, this is where the portal is that he uses, and there's the edge of the table, and there's the wall up there, and we're off the tablet. So use it for layout, and you can then always go back into edit mode and select everything or select parts of it, and then work on getting rid of those parts. So that's another way to erase all those points. So whatever points you select and delete, you'll get rid of those points. So we have all the Blender capabilities, and it's time to say goodbye. All right, so we've learned something today, and that is our Blender